Welcome back. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's brought to you each and every day by Lindsay & Associates with locations in Fayetteville, also 2 locations in Rogers. Lindsay & Associates, we bring great neighbors together. This is also brought to you by Locomotion. You can catch them just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall here in Fayetteville. And also, too, this is brought to you by Fun City with locations just off the 412 Highway in Springdale, Arkansas. And if you don't get a chance to catch us each and every day here on our live stream from 1 to 2 of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, you can catch us on iHeartRadio as we podcast the top segment of each and every day's live stream show on iHeartRadio. So go check us out. You can catch us in the evenings on iHeartRadio. But want to continue on. It's SEC football talk, and it never stops around this conference. So we're going to take a trek up to Como and talk with David Jones of the Daily Columbian. Danny Jones. Danny, welcome to the Hill, my man.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get off into it. You guys had a week off, Danny, just this past weekend. Prior week before didn't go quite as the fan base there in Columbia would have liked. How do you guys come back off of that performance heading into this SEC road game down in Lexington versus the Wildcats of Kentucky?
They have to pose a lot more energy than they did against Auburn, and especially than they did against Purdue the week before. A lot of things have to go differently. The offense hasn't really been in sync for the last 2 weeks. The defense hasn't done much on their end of to do the offense any favors. Special teams has been a thorn in the Tigers' side all season. This will actually be their first road game of the year too. They played 4 consecutive home games to start the year, so the 4-game homestand at the start didn't really go as well as pretty much anybody in Columbia would have liked. So they'll have some adversity that they'll have to fight through here coming up on Saturday at Kentucky.
When you look at this Kentucky football team, they too were pretty much 2 weeks ago coming off a very heartbreaking loss to the Florida Gators, and then just barely got by an Eastern Michigan football team. What are some of the points of emphasis for Coach Oldham and both staffs to have some success on the road this Saturday?
Well, to start, you hope that your run game, I think if you're Missouri, your run game can get going a little bit, because I think that's really the key to this whole offense is having Demarie Crockett going and opening things up for Drew Lock. Might be tough against Kentucky, which has one of the better run defenses in the SEC, but of course that's coming against teams like Eastern Michigan. Florida hasn't really done anything explosive offensively this year, and then also Kentucky played Southern Mississippi and Eastern Kentucky at the start of the year. So I think that's a point for Missouri, is to get their run game going. Conversely, they have to do a good job of containing Kentucky's run game, which just gashed them wide open last year in Columbia when the two teams played. Benny Snell ended up running for a program record, I believe it was 180, 190 yards in that game. So Missouri has to do a better job of containing that run game too on the defensive side of the ball. So there are a couple other things. I think Missouri's pass rush might be able to get to Kentucky's quarterback a little bit, Steven Johnson. And then, you can kind of go from there and try to win at whatever matchups that you can.
Danny, what do you guys have to do on the offensive side of the football versus this Kentucky defense? Leading up into the Florida game, this had been a pretty good front as far as defending against the run. I know that's one of the stronger points with Demarie Crockett, one of the better running backs in the SEC. But what are you guys going to try to attack to, have some offensive success as well?
Well, the offensive line has to be better for Missouri. That was supposed to be a strong point coming into this year for this offense. They were very consistent last year, opened up running lanes pretty much start to finish, but really haven't had that same success this year. Been inconsistent. They've had to rotate new guys in at left tackle and left guard. So the offensive line has to be more consistent, and I think that's the key for getting Mario Crockett going. Is to pave the way for him that way. But as you said, that is tough against Kentucky, which is allowing only 74 yards, on the ground this year. So, that's got to be like you said, that's got to be a point of emphasis. That's going to be something that they do well, and it all starts with the offensive line and them really pushing and giving Demario Crockett room to run.
Talking with Danny Jones of the Daily Columbian in Columbia, Missouri. He's the guy that we always like to lean on when we talk with Zoo here on the SEC here on the Hill. But a big concerning question that I have for you, Danny, and I want to ask this before I let you go, is when you look at the state of the Missouri program. I was watching the game, and it just seems like 3 years ago, that was one of the hardest tickets to buy was a Missouri football ticket. What do you think's going on, with the administration, with the loss of fan base continuing to, fade with that program? How secure is Coach Odom's job going forward, if things don't turn around this season?
Well, there's been a lot of talk about that the last 2 weeks, leading up to the Auburn game, and then now, of course, coming out of the Auburn game and into the bye week. You probably heard Barry Odom's press conference and how passionate he was, that he was the guy to lead the team forward after the Auburn game. I'm guessing some of that criticism might have gotten around to him, and he was eager to make a statement. So you're right, the attendance has been an issue. Drawing just over 50,000 a game is a problem for a school that historically in the last decade or so has averaged around 70,000 a game. So I think that, if you're evaluating Coach Odom, that is definitely something that factors in is how Missouri's drawing, the revenue that they're bringing in from the football program, which obviously kind of makes everything else in the athletic department go. But that being said, there were conversations. I had a conversation with the athletic director, Jim Sturck, before the Auburn game. It didn't sound like he had anything even on the radar screen as far as making a change with the coaching staff of the football program. Said he was still really hadn't changed his opinion of where that program could go based on the first couple games of the season. And then this week, just a couple days ago, my colleague at the Columbia Daily Tribune, his name is Rudy Killer, talked to the Chancellor, Chancellor Cartwright at Missouri, about that same thing, and it sounded like Chancellor Cartwright, just like Jim Sturck, wasn't really in any big hurry to make a coaching change with the football program. So it's a difficult situation to be in. I think there's a lot of, at this point in time, with the slow start, some apathy's built in with the program, and people are excited about basketball season. And at this point in time, football's kind of getting the second look, I think. So there has to be a way for this team to generate some energy, get people to come out to the stadium and really want to be involved, because at this point in time, there's really no incentive to come out and watch a team that, if right now a losing team, but a team that even when they have had a little bit of success, it hasn't been consistent enough to draw all those fans back.
Well, Danny, as always, I love the update, and I'm definitely looking forward to your insight on the basketball program as we start that chatter going on next week when we have you on. But as always, my man, thanks for taking time out on the Hill, Danny.
All right, thanks a lot.
That was Danny Jones of the Daily Columbian, Columbia, Missouri. He's the insight on the Mizzou Tigers. Kind of gave us some real good stuff, but we're going to leave out. And next up is going to be Kevin McGuffey of the Big Blue Nation. But we had a chance post New Mexico State to catch up with Santos Ramirez. And as we leave out, we're going to let you hear what Santos had to say on how he grades this 3-4. Here it is.
A guy like this, he's probably as good as you can face as receivers going forward.
Talking about 16?
The quarterback.
The quarterback?
Yeah.
Quarterback and receivers, man, they are a legit group, man. The quarterback put the ball on the money every time, man. He was in sync with the receivers. The receivers just no mediocre receivers, man. All of them was pretty straight, and it was a good challenge for us. You know, we got to step up even harder next game.
It's kind of the mood of the team after getting this done, knowing what it was like this week. You guys took a lot of shots.
Yeah, man. It's really like a relief, man. Like, you know, we're just glad we can just get back in the win column. You know, after 2 losses in a row, I think this really gonna be a confidence booster for this team, man. And we have to just build on this. We can't get content because it's only New Mexico State. We still got SC play to play. We gotta stay hungry, man. You know, we can't get content. That's the main thing.
Where would you grade this 3-4 right now? There were some times where you guys had a clear shot at the quarterback.
Yeah.
What do you think it is right now?
Right now, I grade this 3-4. Right now we all right. We all right now, man. I give us like a C+ right now, man. And that's average for the most part, but you know, it's just things that we got to do. Like, we got to contain the quarterback. You know, that's the main thing. We can't let him out of pocket. And in the secondary, we got to pass the receivers, man. No matter if you cover 10, 12 seconds, man, you got to stay on our guy. You know, but overall, I believe it's going in the right direction. You know, it is new, and we got some young guys, but I believe it's going in the right direction.
Safety with the Arkansas Razorbacks, just telling us where he graded the defense, what they have to do in the pass coverage, how they can get better, and just what Coach Paul Rose, the defensive coordinator, is stressing with that football team. But we're going to step away. We want to also let you know that segment and all Razorback audio segments are brought to you by Lindsay & Associates, located in Rogers, also located in Fayetteville. Lindsay & Associates, we bring great neighbors together, but we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to let you hear the Kentucky side, because we always say there's 2 sides to every story in the SEC. We'll let you hear from Big Blue Nation's Kevin McGuffey. It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins. Back in a moment.
Purchase your tracks today.